We'll do it live!
Welcome everyone to a very interesting Dirty 20 video that we didn't really expect, but we thought we'd just try this out. Tonight we're just going to have a little discussion about the last arc that everyone's been doing, and yeah, we're going to go from there. So any questions that the player wants to ask me or vice versa, let's go for it. Great start.
Yay! Again, with the start of the awkward silences that is very prevalent with this group. How does that make you feel that we constantly do start off with an awkward silence that equals crickets?
I was waiting for us to go around the invisible table.
There's no invisible table tonight, Jack. Okay, I might as well just.
I mean, technically
we have Jack, who plays Paul Betteridge. We've got Rain, who plays Rue
Thornapple,
and we've got Nancy playing
Festa.
Festa. There we go.
Wow, that was a good table.
I had a brain fart then. But yeah, to answer your question, Rain, very annoyed. It's just like, oh, I give you all this big old backstory. You guys, what do you want to do? Nothing. It's like, good start.
We want to stare at each other in silence.
I think it is like the old Discord thing. Like, you don't want to start speaking if somebody else was going to jump in, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
I also think it's a case of it's something that we could do as a little bit of prep before we actually start, is just go through it and be like, what are we starting with? What do people want to do with today as player characters? And we don't do that discussion as much as we should, and that's something that I think we're going to push for a bit more in the future.
Yes, we should.
Especially now we've got kind of a little bit more of a finalised.
Yes.
I don't want to say finalised because things can change at any more point, but this has at least been consistent now for a bit.
Well, maybe something like what they're planning to do, also what's on their mind, anything that's affecting them. So say if the previous day in game time they got blackout drunk, then that's going to be an impediment to what they're trying to do.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If they stay up all night going on ahead of making poisons and they have a point worth of exhaustion,
that would be a very irresponsible thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know who we're talking about, but yeah. So I've got a question, because not all of you started from the beginning, like Steve and I would say Luke as well, because Luke was in and out from the beginning as well. How do you find the world?
A little bit that we've seen of it.
Yeah.
Because, we haven't seen everything yet.
I think you've only seen a percentage of Caldra, which is the northern part of Terrafell at the moment, and a little bit of Terrafell as well, like the northern part of the Empire you've seen.
The best way I can explain it is, right now for Rue personally, and speaking from a character perspective, she hangs out with friends and immediately she's now on some, town's wanted list.
That's true. That's true, yeah.
She's spending, I feel like she spends half her time kind of like going, why? Is friends worth it?
Look, we all agreed to go after the yellow-eyed tiefling. Nobody made that decision on their own.
And because of that, she lied and got you all wanted from Moonspell.
She's so gorgeous, though. Come on, like, you wake up with a knife at your throat from this beautiful woman.
You might see it in this next arc we'll be covering, and that's a good segue for me to show you a bit later on. There'll be a new intro video for the second arc of this campaign.
All I'm saying is, for some guys, that would be their absolute fantasy.
is it Jack's or is it Paul's?
No comment.
Both. Always both.
Or
Jesus. What is happening? Anyway. Yeah, I mean, you've only seen a percentage of Caldra and...
I like what I've seen so far. I mean, both Nancy and I, at least I'm talking for myself here, but we've also been involved in, I think, every single side campaign, mini campaign thing that has come out of your brain as well since. So, out of character, we've been able to see quite a lot.
Yeah.
Even if it is in different time periods.
Yes, because I tend to like doing that because I don't really feel like it kind of makes the lore better for this world as well.
And you're gone.
Nope, don't go on.
I was going to say, and knowing about Rue and that what you've got going for Wood Elves, and I'm not going to spoil that. That is on you to spoil if you wish. Like, I'm very excited to be able to explore more and seeing how well you thought out like everything.
On the subject of the Wood Elves, for all you dice goblins out there, it will be on the Law and Order videos, which the first episode I will say will be coming out in September. Which it was done by me, Jack, and Joe when Joe was part of the group, and that'll be out in September. The second one is still being produced, but I will be covering the Wood Elves a lot more. But basically, the Wood Elves are like sort of like the Ewoks of Native America, as they live in the trees, but they're more native. Their culture is more based with the Native Americans than anything else.
Are you telling us that Ewoks are real?
With the exception of Rue and Rue's perfectly normal family and family traditions.
Yeah, but the rest of your culture is more of living in the woods, living in treetop houses and everything. It's a bit like the Wookiees as well from Star Wars. I mean, they have treetop houses as well. If anyone has played the old Knights of the Old Republic, which I don't think anyone has. And there's the silence again.
Yeah, well, full disclosure to all of the people that watch us and listen to us and everything else, we all know that Star Wars is not my strong suit, so of course that started going all over my head.
Yeah.
Boo.
And I am realizing how many people that probably there was going, boo, fake nerd. And you'd think someone with as much of a love for space as me would be into it, but really, I can't. I don't know what it is. It's my hubris. No, it's my hubris. I don't know what it is.
Strange, isn't it? But do you like Mass Effect?
Like, I think the only thing that is within like the sci-fi realm really that I've been able to get behind has been Doctor Who, and that's just.
That's Doctor Who is good. I mean, it's good British sci-fi there.
It's good British sci-fi.
I'm really into space, but I don't like Star Trek. I don't like Star Wars. I don't like Mass Effect.
You've heard of
I really
Stargate, yeah?
into space. I don't like anything to do with space.
Have you heard? I
guess I like the real world spacey stuff, and sometimes my knowledge of the real world spacey stuff makes it so that I don't enjoy the sci-fi spacey stuff.
Yeah,
that's fair.
It doesn't fit. Doesn't
How
make
many
sense.
times can I say the word spacey stuff in a?
I am one of those awkward Star Trek fans who is just horrified every time they use the transporters. It's like you have just destroyed those people you transported and created another one who isn't the same individual.
Yeah, they are dangerous. The transporters. But I think
I'm sitting here much like Rue would be in this entire conversation going, what?
Okay, right, they've got this technology...
Please no.
Fine.
Please no.
So going back on to...
Sure, need that explaining.
I mean, there is another little one-shot coming out on the 10th of August, which is the Blood Pack. We're not going to spoil anything there, but I know all three of you have been part of that as well. And you've got to experience another continent, which I'm not going to spoil to the audience and everything.
No.
How was that for you? How was that for you, like, as players? I mean, we had what, 2 new people, didn't we?
Yeah, they're staying as guests. They may be returning. We don't know yet. It's on them.
Yeah.
I know that for me personally, I made this character that I played in this one going, yes, this is something totally different, and within 5 minutes was messaging Jon going, I am so embarrassed. I don't want to do this again. I'm suffering. But I did really enjoy getting to experience a different sort of environment and a sort of different way. I just spent half my time cringing because of my own character creation.
And
there is a limit.
It's really great as well to see the players, because after a while you associate the player with the character. So to see that player play somebody else entirely, it just gives you a bit more depth, I guess, as an audience member. Like, what would they create in this scenario?
And I mean, God, we played some pretty dark characters in that one. I feel like some of us went somewhere, and I don't know if we've returned fully yet.
Not yet.
Okay, no spoilers, but it involved... There had to be a crime in our backstory. And I, of course, chose the most serious one. Okay, we'll just leave that for the 10th of August.
Yeah, we will. But I'm looking forward to releasing it onto YouTube and Spotify.
It's going to be fun to see if we finally go on ahead and get something that they go, no, this is too dark. This goes against
Geneva
guidelines.
So, is there any other? I'm trying to think of other questions to ask you guys, but
yeah, let's discuss your beholder.
Oh, my beholder. Well,
that you completely created, and then we kind of made sure that you didn't get to have your fun with it.
Which is, but that was not nice. That was. I mean, I thought you were supposed to be my friends, and then you just did that to me. It's just...
I mean, that was just good rolling, sorry.
We also did it with the pig.
Yes, you did, but I was more looking forward to the beholder than the pig.
Okay, right.
Well,
just to explain, and I don't know if that episode's come out yet.
It has today.
It has, right.
It'll be, from what this is be released, it'll be a week ago, so...
Right. So, yeah, Paul had just seen some of his closest friends, one be petrified, one be turned into a mouse, and he was like, well, shit, we're all going to die. I'd best try and do something, even if it means potentially sacrificing my life. And that was a kind of character turning moment for me. Because up till then, everything that's Paul done has always had personal gain for him. He's never done anything that selfless before.
I will. Go on.
No, you go, because mine's going to be a big thing. Go.
I will say on the back of that as well, I don't know if Paul noticed, but Vesta's kind of not as aggressive towards him anymore. Like, she saw that and went, okay, maybe this dude is, like, not as bad as I thought he was going to be. So there's definitely, like, a little bit of, like, understanding a little bit more in her eyes after seeing him kind of put himself in a position where he's like, either we're all going to die and I've got to do everything I can to do it, or we're going to get out of here under some ridiculous notion. So yeah, so she's definitely like, something's going on here.
And I wouldn't blame any character for getting that first impression of him, because, you know, long black trench coat, leather gloves, big wide brimmed black hat.
Yeah,
he's always
Man
kind
just
of
lives in liver.
talks a bit like swirly all the time, misleading. It's like, yeah, you're always up to something, aren't you? I don't trust you. I don't like you.
Yeah, he's got that kind of personality where originally you just kind of don't really recognize, like, oh shit, like there's a story behind why he's like this. And I think Vesta's now kind of noticing the facts of that and going, no, actually, maybe it's better to sit and have a conversation with him rather than just judge him. Because also on the flip side of that, Vesta's been very sheltered with her backstory. Like, her backstory is she's literally been trapped in a college her in like most of her adolescence. Like, being an elf is so weird because she has such long periods of time where it kind of just goes past in the blink of an eye. And to her,
yeah.
So she's not really understanding that there's a massive world out there. That's why she's been pushed so hard to go out and do something. So on the back of that, like, seeing this and like going, oh well, actually there is different ways of doing stuff. Like, you don't always have to sit on that there's only one way and there's only my way. She's finding those different connections between people that are just so much more world known than she is, and that's given her that little bit of a push as well, which is really cool.
I know we're waiting for Rain for you to say something, but first of all, I would like to welcome somebody to the chat.
Yeah.
Hi, Esme.
Esme.
Hey.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm a bit late today.
Good. You're good.
You're fine.
How'd you say?
Back to the awkward silence.
Well,
I'm going to start calling
just
that out.
Just to respond to Nancy there, has Vesta ever seen him do his appearance changing trick?
I don't think she has yet, and if she has, I think she's not. No, because I don't think we've been in I don't think we've been in a town or anything where you would need to do that just yet. So I don't think.
No, I think you were actually, because when we went against Nightclaw.
Oh yeah.
He transformed himself into looking like one of the cultists.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah.
So the part of him that is kind of swirly, you don't know where he really stands about anything. It's camouflage. It's a self-protective thing that he's doing.
All I'm going to say is that Rue had a great last session being a squirrel.
Yeah, it's that. We did enjoy that.
Pocket friend.
Yeah, we had way too much fun with
Pocket friend. I love that, pocket friend.
But it was good that Rue and Paul kind of had a bit of a chance to kind of discuss a little bit more, and my hope is that we didn't, like, Jack and myself didn't annoy the players or the DM or the people watching with kind of the little hearts they've had over the last 2 sessions, where they've kind of talked out the differences and then had a chance to kind of talk about some sort of changes that are kind of happening.
See, I think that's really good between characters, because getting that chance to sit and be like, well, no, actually, you need to understand that that's not what I want to do, and having that interaction between the 2 years, I think that's amazing, because you don't get that a lot, especially when something happens and it creates tension. You don't get a lot of, like, that tension's been directly sorted. It's like left.
Yeah, and I enjoy that realism, because if you just joined a group of people and you're fighting beside them, you want to make sure that everything's going to be safe. You want to make sure that you fit in. Yeah. If you were worried about someone, you'd ask them about it. And the more realistic the roleplay can be, even though we're in a fantasy world, I think that's really great to deepen, like, the story.
And it's great because like, people are starting to realise that whilst I am not the most introverted person, Rue is very much an introverted person, people are going to have to kind of go to her to kind of get to know a little bit more about her. She tried to kind of be completely herself and then realised very quickly that's scaring people, and kind of has since then been very much, if I just kind of don't draw attention to myself, these people are, going to let me stay around a little bit longer.
Oh, bless.
So sweet.
John, what do you think about us talking a little bit about our backstories as characters?
I would say go for it, but don't spoil everything on the table just yet.
Of course.
As I want it to be more of a surprise for not just for the players, but for the Dice Goblins as well out there.
Would you like a crack at it, Esme?
Yeah, I mean, basically, Dorilla's backstory is she's a Verdan type of goblin. But I read in the sort of official lore for Verdans that they're sometimes mistaken for elves. So I had the idea of doing Raised by Elves background. And so basically she was adopted by this elf family who couldn't conceive naturally, but they have some sort of deep-rooted almost racism that they don't really admit to themselves, but they tell everyone that she is an elf, but she's got this mysterious disease that makes her skin green and stuff, and she doesn't really feel like she fits in with them, or that she can be herself, but at the same time she's experienced some goblins, ran into some goblins on her travels as a bard. And she doesn't really get on with them either because she can find them quite cruel, or they only care about themselves sometimes, and she tries to be more caring, considerate of others. And so she's still trying to find out who she is really, and so when her family kind of put her forward as the messenger to deliver this letter to an aunt of hers. She's gone and met her great aunt, and then she's done that, and she's like, okay, well, I'm out here now, I'm quite far from home, and she kind of decides to leave her family and see what she can make of herself and find out who she is, and become a bard and travel.
And this is where everyone met her at the at that lovely tavern.
What was it called again?
The Nag's Head.
That makes so much sense.
I'm going down to Nag's Head.
Great, bar, pub, tavern is ever named the Nag's Head.
Well,
I can tell that reference has gone over the head of not only our younger listeners, but younger players.
It's off. I'm not that young.
You said it, not me.
Oh, yeah. Does anyone remember Only Fools and Horses?
Barely.
I'm not talking about of Fools and Horses. Obviously, there's an exception there. But for my personal experience, there's a few that are in my area, and all of them are a bit seedy looking.
Are they? Oh, well, it is Essex.
Where they've tried to recreate, Only Fools and Horses, and you're just there, just like,
yeah.
Oh no,
I have heard of that TV show, and I've seen probably an episode or a few, but it's definitely a bit before my time.
This time next year, we'll be millionaires.
It's a shame that both those actors aren't talking to each other anymore.
Anyways.
Yeah. So Esme, I was asking these lovely players to ask me any questions about my homebrew world, my ideas and everything. Where did we get up to?
We were just having a bit of a talk about the backstories of various people. I know that I don't know how I can even begin to divulge Rue's backstory without giving anything too much. So my simple response to that is going to be, you're going to have to wait and see. But if you think you know Rue, you don't know Rue.
Unless you'd like to go next, Nancy?
Well, there's not really much else I can say about Vesta in the same sense of that there's a lot that's gonna... I found when I started with Vesta, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna make a scholar. She's gonna like be in this place, and then we're like, oh, well, we'll like add bits and pieces to this. And I'm finding that the easiest way for me to play her honestly is in like the like I want to play her the best of my ability, honestly. Is to find her as the journey goes. And I think that is so true to the character as well. Because she's been sheltered this entire time. She's not known the world outside. So finding her story as I'm playing seems to be like the ultimate delve into the character. Like, I've got some stuff mapped out in the background, like I've got some like touch points that I can go off of, but like turning around to Jon and just saying, oh, can I do this? And he's like, yeah, sure, let's add it. Brilliant. Absolutely amazing. I absolutely love doing that kind of story building.
The only thing that I would say in jumping off of your thing with Rue is I have a tendency to break my characters in their backstories. And whilst I will turn around and say Rue is absolutely a comfort character of mine, she did not escape my need to kind of break my characters a little bit. But she did get off incredibly lightly to some of the others.
Yeah. I think that's like one of the really cool things about playing these types of characters. Like, I think I was saying this to a family member the other day, and it's that separation between like somebody asked me, I forgot what it was now, like, what other name would you go by? And I was like, I can't really answer that because I go by quite a lot since I played D&D. Like, it's that like, would you change your name if you could or something or other? And I was like, I changed my name like every time I play a D&D session.
The answer is yes, I did it.
Yeah, yes, I already do.
All the time. Yeah, it's so strange. But yeah, there's not much else I can really say on Vesta's backstory because there's stuff that's gonna happen as we play. So yeah, I'll quote Rain on that and just say you'll have to wait and see.
Okay. Well, Paul has told some stories whilst we've been in the campaign of what happened in his past. And it was very much informed by the setting that Jon gave me. His country of Dovalonia used to be this really impressive military power on the waters. Yeah. It was affluent, it was really successful, and now we're getting into the waning years. So I figured how they'd handle that is that they'd get more controlling, more oppressive. The jobs would be paying less. So if you want to be an honest citizen, you go and work in the mills, where you'll get mistreated and you'll be paid barely enough to live. That's the Dovalonia that people see from outside. If you've lived in Dovalonia, especially in Cirta, Paul's home city, there is the underworld, where it's full of criminals, where nudge, nudge, wink, wink, don't ask, don't tell. And yeah, there are thieves. There are hired thugs. And what I wanted to do was to create a moral man in a corrupt world. Ooh. So rather than going to the mills, it's like, no, sod that. I've seen my brother do that, and it's ruined him. He's invented his way around it. He started as a performer. That's his background. And then he figured, I'm doing this as a young man. The shine's going to wear off of it. The novelty's going to wear off. And he figured that, well, I don't want to start thieving. I'll turn myself into a PI. And of course, to earn a bit more money, he ramped up the charges, just invented things like danger pay, and any way he can squeeze more out of a bill than is absolutely necessary. And the reason that he doesn't like going anywhere near thieving is a bit like Batman's aversion to killing. Because he knows if he starts and gets used to it, he won't come back.
It's a very fair point.
Yeah.
You also are only hearing from Paul the things in his past that he wants to tell you about. I just look back and think like he's been living in that underworld for about 6 years. There's gonna be a lot of very messed up things, very messy things he would have been involved in.
And there's, I was gonna say, and there's the silence again.
Yes. Well,
Sorry.
John.
Yeah.
With you knowing all of the characters' backstories, do you have one that you're particularly excited to be able to implement in the world? Or is there one that you're just like, when the time comes from this one's going to be really difficult? Like, what are your thoughts on people's backstories that they've got?
I was excited for James's backstory, who was our Dampier friend.
Daria Morfesinas.
Yeah, I was kind of looking forward for his backstory to be unfolded, but unfortunately, nature calls, and him and his other half, Michelle, are expecting a baby, so we'll have to wait for that. But I'm kind of... There's not any other backstories that I'm really excited about. It's just... There's one, but I can't say who yet, which ties into the actual main story to this. And I'm really looking forward to, finally revealing a bit, and the shock and the revelation of it.
Oh.
So
I'm excited now. I want to know who it is.
Yeah, I want to know who it is.
I want to know.
You want to know?
No.
You can't yet.
I was
Especially if that person isn't there for us then to go on ahead and attempt to, get the information out of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Here's a secret, players. Oh no, but you can't have it.
Yeah, you can't have it.
Here's half a secret.
Like, can you imagine how next session would go if we're just like, come on, tell us, and they're like, what? Like, this is meant to be a secret. What?
We're all just there siding up to the all of our characters are siding up to that person's character, just like, we're best friends,
actually,
right?
Yes, there is actually one player that I'm looking forward to for their backstory to be revealed, which it doesn't tie into the story at all. But again, I'm not saying a word.
Oh, so mean.
Because they're not here yet, or not on this recording anyway.
Plus, you don't want us all to get grumpy like, well, someone's got a favourite.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we already knew he had favourites, so...
Don't have favourites. I wanted to kill you all last week, but hey.
I love all of my children equally.
Not at all.
That's always a lie.
I love all of my players equally, in the sense that I just want to kill them all. Hence that beautiful beholder that I'm still waiting to hear a little bit more about as to what the hell was going on with that homebrew thing.
Well, I've always had a problem with the beholders in the actual 5e, and probably beyond as well, because I was looking up right through to the first Dungeons and Dragons and everything to find good copper out for me to, make my own. But there was nothing, they all look a bit gimmicky, a bit. They weren't fearsome like I wanted beholders to be. So I imagined a mixture of Predator, Alien, and the Beholder mixed into one.
That's a terrifying thought.
And I created this this ancient Beholder with the mouth opening up like 3 ways. And yeah, I just had a look at the stats of normal Beholders, and they weren't really. Everyone seems to hype them up, like in any TV show, movie, or anything else that I've seen. They always hype them up, and they looked a bit like meh, like 2d6 for like a ice ray or something like that. That's not strong enough. So I basically umped up the dice counter of this ancient beholder that I made, and I just added more features to it every single time I went back into it, and I finished it around about the same time as I went jobless. And yeah, I've just been sitting on it for a while and waiting for anyone to come into that cave and be attacked by it.
And then we come and pretty much take no damage from it and convince it to
leave after over a year of making, researching into it. All went up in smokes.
I could literally hear in the silence that came after that the ripping of paper.
It was literally deleting everything off the internet, off my computer. It's like, yep, cool. I'm not going to use that anymore.
Well, I guess if you've researched them, because this is a bit of the lore that I absolutely love, the way that beholders reproduce.
Oh God, please no.
Yes.
No, it's not graphic. It's not graphic.
No, it's not graphic, but yes, I could do that. But bear in mind, this beholder's been in that cave for over several millennia. And only...
Can I just have a reminder, where did we end up sending it?
I think we sent it to... where did we send it in the end?
Paul suggested, well, I suggested Arborea. Because Paul wouldn't know about the Outer Planes.
Yeah, DM, where did I send it?
I think you sent it to one of the wildlands. The wild.
Did I?
Yeah.
That is Arborea. Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Arborea.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. You didn't trick it.
So I suppose we could all, if we want to make Jon feel better about the fact that we went on ahead and so easily defeated the big bad beholder that he spent so long creating, I suppose the answer to that, Mr. DM, would be, I guess, another little mini one-shot thing where we actually get to take it on as different characters.
Possibly. That's a... Yeah, you could. That's not bad.
Because then Jon can murder us all with characters that we don't care about. It's a win-win situation.
It is a win-win situation.
Okay. Right, I know that it was frustrating for Jon, but, like, I did not know I was going to get
a
natural 20.
No, I didn't.
And imagine if it had gone wrong. Like, Paul is screwed.
Imagine. Which is why I'm saying.
Yeah, imagine if that mysterious scroll hadn't just turned up in my pocket. We would have been even more screwed.
Yeah.
We've got a mysterious benefactor.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think the group does. I think everyone in the group has someone that's helping them out.
Like...
No, not Paul.
No, not really.
I think it's
just me.
It's just Luke and you.
Just me then. Just me and Luke. Oh no.
There's only so many ways I could have like distracted it with my, bardic charm, and if we hadn't have had that scroll, so yeah, it's just as well because like I couldn't have kept it entertained for very long.
Yeah, it was either a scroll and some way of it to get out of that. Otherwise, we would have all died probably trying to fight it.
Yeah, you would have.
Yeah. I did have polymorph. I was very willing to turn it into a little tiny fluffy bunny.
Fluffy bunny!
Unfortunately, he was immune to you could have done because you weren't in that cone, were you?
Nope.
Anti-magic cone.
No, that was the only thing that would have stopped me from doing anything. Is if I'd been like that fucking core.
And also, I stayed hidden in squirrel form the entire time, so he didn't even know I existed.
You were pocket friend.
Well, yeah, I mean, I used dash to get out of the magic cone, and then I was like, pretty much all of my spells have a maximum of like 60-foot distance where I can cast them from, and I'm still like 80 feet away, and I'm on this bridge, so I can't just like, yeah. So I was like, I can't do anything even, and then everyone like talks it down before I got closer.
But, you know, sometimes things happen, but if we, you know, maybe as a nice, lovely present to the DM, we'll create some characters that he can murder.
Can we create, like, high-level characters and come back and fight this?
Yeah, I mean, I could easily make it, like, set probably where he's gone, or maybe in the past where you guys just stumble upon this cave. I don't know. There's ideas, so I can work on that. But in the meantime,
that would be really cool. I'm just really interested in playing a high level character because I think that would be amazing. I've not played anything like above like what was the level we played at the other day? Was it 12?
It was 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not played anything above the 12 ever. So I'd love to get into a level 15 something. Amazing.
Well, there is always, because we did find at least 3 dead bodies.
Yeah, you did.
So that kind of would like have the prequel effect of you know what's going to happen to some people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But it could always be that part.
Like, what if we like looted the bodies of like if we were fighting it in the past, and then like using one-shot characters, and then without realizing it, we like looted the bodies of the characters.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments if you want to see it.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I forget we're a YouTube show.
Yeah, this is not just us chatting. This is us putting shit.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
It's for, I guess, everyone, including DM. Where would people like to see in the world that DM has built? Where would people like to go? Or does the DM have a specific place he wants to take us? I mean, I guess you probably do.
I do, but I want to hear what the others think. I mean, I'll probably have to put up the actual map of Caldra in chat and everything, which I can do.
Go for it.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
As someone that is backup recording, I can't really look at without showing everything. So I guess onto my phone.
Is there one big map of the whole thing?
Yeah.
Where's it at? Oh wait, I think it's at the top. I think I found it. No, that's still only a portion.
Yes.
I know I've seen it at some point.
I got you covered, everyone. I'll transfer. Let's move on to another question whilst I get this up and everything.
Okay.
What was the first arc called?
What from this campaign or the last campaign?
This
campaign.
New Beginnings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I'll say this. I'm nervous to see what the DM has in store. Is this just part 2 of like multiple, or is this like now we're officially in the second half of this campaign, and there's only going to be obviously first half, second half?
You have to find out.
I don't think so. I think I don't know. I think there's a lot here. Having heard like snippets of people's backstories, I think there's a lot here that we can take several different places. So I don't think there's going to be a lack of story to tell.
No.
My other question is, how high does the DM want to take these characters? Do you have like do you like, please don't let them get past this level?
That's a good question. Let me have a little think. Hang on a second.
We've got the DM now thinking about 2 separate questions, guys.
Rain, what do you think Rue's favourite wild shape is? Do you think it's squirrel?
I think it might end up... I know that mine personally, I was really surprised by Battle Squirrel, which I didn't know or realise was homebrew. I'm not totally sure where that homebrew came from, because I have so much stuff that has just been all added into my personal stuff on D&D Beyond. And I was really surprised about how tanky these little tiny squirrels are.
Yeah.
But I mean, I haven't personally. I'm new to druids as a player character. I tend to always kind of stay away from them.
Maggie.
They scare me.
Druids scare you? Why are you playing a druid then?
Druid because out of the comfort zone, and I was looking at everyone else. I was like, this is the kind of the time to do a druid.
Nice. Fair enough.
I had such and again, aside from that, I am that kind of a chaotic character where I kind of roll everything when making a character if I'm being really indecisive. So in this case, I rolled Rue's race, I rolled her class, I rolled her subclass.
Nice.
I rolled so much about Rue until I had an idea of what I wanted to do with her. That's what we got.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, I think it is the squirrel. I think Rue is going to spend so much of that time as the squirrel now.
So
that's awesome.
I popped the world map in Mappy Maps.
Oh, I was going to
Mappy Maps.
I was going to ask Jack a question.
Okay. Go for it.
Rude.
Is it rude?
Interrupting DM.
Interrupting.
What she meant to be psychic?
I was only going to ask. I was just a simple question because I thought we still needed more fill space time shit so that we could have a look at the map. What do you think Paul's favourite thing to steal has been?
During the campaign, he's only stolen one thing.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, it was this magical ring, which I've given to Rowan, and he's not done anything with.
Oh no!
Which we could always get it back and give it to Vesta.
No, I mean, you gave it to Rowan in the first place, so just leave it. As long as he's going to use it at some point, I don't mind him having it.
I don't know.
If not,
we do need to talk to Luke about that because, like, Jack said, he hasn't used it, so...
if he's not used it deliberately because he either can or just doesn't need it, then yeah, sure, Vesta will probably take it. It depends on what it is. What ring is it?
We don't know. The whole point was to get it identified. So originally, he gave it to Keith, and Keith had to leave. So he was like, yeah, can I have that back now?
Cool, yeah. Well, I can totally identify it. So
I really enjoyed that little moment when he gave over the ring because they just started a relationship, and he had to say, "Yeah, I'm not giving you that kind of ring."
Oh, nice. Not awkward at all. Lovely.
It's going to be really awkward if you decide that to go on ahead and get pulled with like an NPC or something, and then she does come back, and then you've got to have that entire interaction. Oh god, I'm cringing at the thought of it.
That just makes me want to do it all the more.
Oh, I swear, you are lucky we are friends.
What, is it going to be some hot tieflings?
Okay, so he's got a thing for tieflings. So what?
The one thing we don't have in the party.
That's true.
John now aggressively scribbling out any potential tiefling that was going to come our way.
Well, not at the moment, where episode 22 is going at the moment, and you'll find out.
Oh god!
You'll find out why next week, but anyway, or next time. But anyway, so I've seen the map, and I would love, in my opinion, to go to or either mini campaign or campaign 3 or whatever for Nagata.
Yes, I was looking at that.
Because I have so much lore there that I want to explore.
Ooh, where's that at on the map?
There's like islands.
Oh, the mini islands in the middle. Nice.
Kind of more to the side. Towards,
Can you give us any hints of what's there, or do we have to go explore?
You have to explore, or you probably it will probably be revealed if we ever do a mini campaign on it, or a full campaign. But yeah, that's what.
I mean, we've done a fair few of these now.
I think we've got enough in the making one-shots going right now. I don't think we need to add more.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
I was saying this to Rue earlier. I think we've got about 4 things going at once at the moment.
Yes, you do.
I think we can just press pause on the mini campaigns right now.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I am fascinated by the idea of the Darwin Isles.
really? Or Darwin?
Darwin. The text is really small, and
Right.
I have to wear glasses.
That's fine. Well, they're actually part of the Waving Empire, but I would like maybe just to explore them one time. But yeah.
I mean,
it'll make it a lot easier if, say, we came across something like, I don't know, a flying ship. Not to give you ideas or make a quest or anything.
There's no flying ships in
Damn
this
it.
world.
This is an insane map. Well done.
Thank you. It's
It's so well thought out.
It's still not 100% complete yet, but you know.
But still, so cool.
I did love, like, and Rain and Nancy, you won't remember this because you weren't part of the campaign at the time. We went initially east and went to, we did end up in a part of Orath. And then when we got attacked by the dragon cult, the cult of Trakon, Rowan just said, Daddy, I could use your help with this, and immediately were thrown over into Terrafell.
Ooh. Just landed in Terrafell. Well, we're here now.
Just you know, Daddy, I want some help.
Oh no!
We've ruined that word now.
Yeah.
I will pay Luke to do that one time.
He probably would.
He probably would.
He would do that. Mm-hmm.
I'd probably do it for free.
Knowing him, yeah.
God, he spent about 3 sessions trying to convince me as a player that Paul was secretly gay.
Yeah.
It's like, no, mate, no, stop it. It didn't help that he mistook a man for a woman and was very attracted to him. And then even when he was told, just kept on acting like he was a woman.
The bi panic. Gotta love it.
The wishful thinking.
I'm curious.
There's so many interesting names. I can't pick one out.
I was going to ask you which one do you guys want to see? Because I heard Jack wants to do the Darwin Islands.
I don't know. It's a big map, so I don't really know, to be honest. I don't think I know enough about the history yet either. Of any of it really. So
well, if you see the islands in the middle between Terrafell and Orath, that's where Jack is from, or where Paul is from.
Yeah.
What, the Citra?
Cirta.
Well, Cirta's the capital. It's the islands of Dovania.
Dovalonia.
So are we gonna end up back there at some point, do we think?
I think Paul is hoping that we don't.
Well, he's gradually developing more and more guilt over just because the way it worked is there was a protest which as the leader of that resistance, he didn't call for. The other people underneath him organised it behind his back. He knew it was a stupid idea. You're all going to get arrested. They did it anyway. That started to happen, and he realised, I'm the only one who knows everyone's names, and if they get hold of me, eventually they will make me squeal. So I've got to leave. And there's a question left in his mind, like, well, did I do it for a good reason, or did I do it just to save my own skin?
Yeah. Interesting.
On the one hand, I'm really curious at wanting to know more about the Forsaken Isles that you've got down here. They look both terrifying and really cool. On the other hand, I see how close that is to Rue's homeland, and I know that Rue is going to kick her heels in completely at the idea of going anywhere near there.
Yes. So her home continent is a small one on the northwest actually of the map.
Yeah.
Called Corvel, and it used to be a whole hundreds of years ago. I'm going to do a backstory for this. The whole continent was a woodland on border with the dwarfs in the north. But after several colonies have come and claimed the land, they've basically cut down the forest to like one, I would say 3/4 of what it used to be. So the wood elves are being exploited for labor and slavery and everything. Whilst the colonies are making money from that.
So, understandably, not that. As far as Rue knows, everything's fine back at home.
Oh yeah.
She also somewhere deep down knows that things are not right there, and she's going to drag her heels in at the idea of ever going back. It's really hard to explain without going into Rue's backstory, but I just know that Rue would not be at all interested in ever going back there.
Fair enough. I don't think she would be pressured into doing it unless there was a legitimate reason that we had to. Unless there was there's this thing that we really need to get from your specific homeland. We can't get it anywhere else. We've got to go. The only reason that we would if we would even think about forcing her to go back. So
yeah, no, it's going to be interesting, and I mean, maybe after some more things are revealed about Rue and some more things come to light, that might change for her. But for now, for the most part, yeah, she'll kick her heels in and she'll go there kicking and screaming, completely unwillingly.
What's Esme's place that she would like to see? That's what I'd like to hear. The new.
I've opened the link and I've zoomed in a bit, but it's still quite hard to read a lot of the
that's fine.
text because of the image size and stuff. But also I am quite a new player. 20 listeners, so I don't know a lot about the world yet.
That's fair. So I'll give you 6 months then until.
Yeah, at the end of part 2, when we do another one of these, we'll revisit that one.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, at least 6 weeks.
Okay, yeah, 6 weeks.
I don't know. It all looks it all looks very interesting. There's this kind of desert. Is it Xanoid? It's like a desert-y island.
Zangrid.
Or continent.
Yes.
Is it Zangrid?
Yeah, that's
Zangrid. Oh yeah, that's sorry. That looked like an O.
No, I think I misspelled it as well, so I need to change that. But anyway, that's where the blood pack is set for.
Yep.
So,
okay.
I thought.
Yeah.
But it would still be nice maybe to go back there and explore more of the lore behind the actual continent. But
And I quote once again, I'm a snake.
I'm a snake.
I'm a snake.
But yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, that's the world of Caldra.
I've got a question.
Mm-hmm.
So when I joined, it was the last session for our player who was playing Mizali.
Yes, it was. Who was the Pure Bloods?
Yuan T.
Yuan T, yeah.
Were there any other people who'd left before her?
Unfortunately, there was one who didn't like. Again, which we've had so we've had so many players come and go up to now and everything, which really has made me mentally and physically tired of playing D&D. But somehow I've still have that oomph to play D&D because I love creating new worlds. I love creating something from my mind, and I love presenting it to people. I love being a DM. But when people who come to do one session and then say, "Oh, it's not for me because I don't like being recorded," but I've already told you we're going to be recorded for YouTube, kind of get old after a while. Because a lot of people have said that to me. Only a few have come to me and said of their mental health has deteriorated and they need to, come away for a bit and come back and everything, which is fair enough. But a lot of these people come on here. I've told them we're doing YouTube. They both me and Luke have said that this is YouTube. We'll be not streaming it, but recording it for our YouTube channel and Spotify as well. They do a session. They come back to me after it. It's like, it's not really for me and everything. I don't really feel the vibe and everything. It's like, well, what's wrong with the vibe? It's like, well, I don't really like being recorded and everything. It kind of grates on you after a while.
And that's something that I've kind of taken to as well, is I doubt anyone would know the fact that I've done a couple of other previous, campaigns like this where it's all online. But they didn't work out because of it constantly, and it is something that, for me, gets me quite anxious when I start seeing people doing it. And I know that I've said as much to you, and I've said as much, I think, to pretty much everybody that's in this little conversation now, is it does make me extremely nervous when I start seeing people going because they don't like being recorded when they knew about it.
Yeah.
And I know that people know about it because I know that, at least in my experience and some other people's experience, first thing that's been said.
And it's something that, unfortunately, it happens quite often in an online group.
Yeah.
You will get the people who stay and turn up regularly. Yeah. You'll also get what I call the tourists. Who try out a group just in case it's something they'd like, and then they go, no, not for me.
But they don't. But they use the excuse of, I don't like being recorded and everything. But it's like, we've given you at least 2-week notice about this.
I'm wondering if it's not so much a case of them wanting to not be recorded or anything, and it's just more in a case of they're realizing that we're actually a pretty serious group in the sense of this is something that we want to do and we want to do it consistently, and they're not going to be able to get away with being a bit flaky, and they're generally flaky people, so they leave.
Probably, yeah. That is probably another reason why.
And the recording would just be a good excuse to throw out there rather than
I feel
actually I'm a complete flake.
Yeah, or actually, I personally do not think I fit in with any of these people because of X, Y, and Z. And sometimes there can be a totally innocent thing. I mean, I know that I myself have at least on 1 or 2 sessions tried out for a bit and gone, these people are not going to gel with me. This isn't going to work. The way of doing things and the way of me doing things is different, and the way the DM goes about stuff is not right, especially when you get a DM that goes, we don't care what your character thinks, just do the thing. When you're trying to do a role play. I don't know if anyone else has had that one. I've had that one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've had that before.
You just move on, and they're just trying to fit as much in as possible without like. And it's just battle after battle after battle, and there's no character development.
And like, I'd almost have a lot more respect for people if they did say like, "Oh, I feel like for personal differences, like I don't get on with these people, or like I don't get the right vibes, or I don't feel like I'll be able to commit enough time and energy to like investing in this campaign, or I'm worried about commitments." Like, that's one thing, that's fine, but like to use an excuse that like doesn't even work because it's something they've been told about for like before they started at all. It's like,
I mean, it's also, we've just kind of got to that point where we've just gone, okay, fine, and moved on. And right now, the lineup that we've got of the individuals and the people themselves that I'm getting to know, their characters, I love it, and I am so grateful for the people that left before me that gave me an opportunity to be here, as hard as that sounds.
Nothing personal, but I'm glad it's fucked off.
Nothing personal, but I'm glad you're not here so I can be here.
I'm just taking your job right now. Yeah, no, I've tried to play it realistically with Paul, where whilst there are a lot of comings and goings, and it's somewhat, we've got a more stable group again. I've tried to play it as real, where he'd be a bit despairing of, oh god, like, I don't know anyone here anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that for Rue, personally, in the way I'm playing Rue is, and it's a case of these are the first people that have actually been nice to her since she left her hometown. She isn't going to leave them for anything. She may question people's morals, but she's not going to leave them. That's a dumb decision.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean, it's also why Paul has started to step up and be a bit more of a coach to everybody, just like checking in, making sure they're okay. Well, if I lose this group, then I've got nothing left. And I know that is true for his in-world life.
I know that for me personally, I've said this off camera, I've said this on camera. This group is something else. This is something that you don't get very often. You don't get a DM that really cares for the world that they make and really tries to make a good story along with players that care enough to make it all happen. Usually you get one or the other at luckiness. This is the first time in a very long time where this group's kind of had everything. And as I've said, I spent so many weeks in the beginning being like, what if I don't fit in well? What if they don't like me? What if they're gonna kick me out? I'm gonna be so upset, and just like waiting to get that message. Because I, like many people, have had that thing where DMs are just, they don't like the way how they are, and they do that, or the way how you play or something, and they do just tend to drop you. And it may not necessarily be that you're a bad player.
Yeah. Oh yeah, been there.
That you're not a bad player or anything else. It's just they want to go down a different route to how you want to kind of play. And that's allowed to be. So to get something that works so well, like I remember I messaged you, John. I was like, so when am I getting kicked out?
and I was like, what are you on about?
Because I was so convinced it was going to happen, because I was so anxious about it.
No, I'm not going to kick you out. I enjoyed Rain's first appearance, and it kind of, I could see potential in it, and I know she was anxious. I know she was kind of shy and everything, but I was trying to ease her into it and everything. And
I mean, since then, like since I knew and I've known that I'm safe and I'm not going to get kicked out, like the chaos is just.
Yep.
I'm getting to that point where I kind of feel like I kind of want to make everyone regret saying no, Rain stays.
Well, and I'm going to drop a massive squishy compliment on you, John. The way that you allow us the freedom. And it is freedom, but there's consequences to your actions.
Oh yeah.
And because the very worst experience I've had is there was one DM I was working with where it was like playing Monkey Island. There was only one solution, and you had to flounder around until you found it.
That's the thing with I've heard so many stories about DMs saying, no, you have to do this, you have to focus on this path and that path only. And I'm like, that's not how real world works. There's consequences to your actions, and there's multiple paths where you can go. Take example, the Beholder last week. I actually let Paul convince the Ancient Beholder not to attack them and actually have a conversation with him. And the fact that he rolled high to persuade the Beholder to actually go
29.
29, yep, 29, to actually persuade this Beholder to actually listen to him and strike a deal with Paul shows that you don't always have to fight in initiative. There's other ways of escaping. There's other ways of resolving a solution.
God, there's so many DMs out there though that would have seen what we did with that Beholder and would have had an absolute bloody temper tantrum about it.
Probably they did. They probably would have.
Oh.
But I don't understand why though. It's probably to. I'll probably get cancelled for saying this, but they probably would hurt their fragile little minds. But you know.
There are a lot of DMs that I feel they become DMs because they want to have this level of control that they are missing in their lives, and that is something that I have personally experienced. That isn't me making an assumption of DMs. I've done a lot of D&D campaigns at this point, and it is something I've seen fairly consistently.
Yeah. I've been a player and had DMs like that. Strange enough, I have been a player. I haven't been always a forever DM.
Shout out to one of my first DMs going on ahead and giving 3 level 4s a demigorgon to try and deal with.
That's no.
Well, I'm going to try and steer us away from griping.
Yeah.
Just to say, in my experience, because I DM'd a homebrew world when I very first started, that lasted 18 months. Like most of the time, we didn't get to the very end of the campaign, but that's fine. Still had a great time. But when they did something unexpected, and outwitted me, I just found it hilarious. It's like, this is brilliant, and I can't give you a justifiable reason why that wouldn't work. So yeah, that happens. And it's those kind of. Sorry, Esme. I'll finish it a bit.
No, continue your point.
I think that it's those kind of occurrences that make the stories that you remember, that make the anecdotes.
I mean, yeah, we were doing notes for what we were doing on Saturday. Night of the Undead. And the amount of antidotes that are in that now, it's not even notes that are important. Some of it's just like, oh, so and so said the funny thing.
Yeah.
And just like little inside jokes now, and I look at that now more than I'm looking at everything else. Is just the little funny notes I've got of, haha, someone said funny thing. It made me go, haha.
Definitely.
There's just something brilliant about the chaos, I guess.
Am I allowed to make a few shout-outs to other channels?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so Crit Crab is a great one for anecdotes. And also Neckbeardia.
Yes.
Who come out with the just most insane things that probably did happen because somebody's put it on Reddit.
And on a side note, we are aware of how bad, well, we've now become aware of how bad the auto-generated subtitles are. Understanding what we're saying, I'm sure we'll figure something out fairly soon, when one of us can better sit through and go through it all.
I did love like what you'd said in the Discord group, like Not for this reason. Oh, it hates John. And it was someone else. Was it?
It hated me as well.
Yeah. And saying towards me, not really sure about you. And I just responded, I don't think anybody's really sure about me.
It was just so interesting because I've now become aware that John and I are getting absolutely butchered in the subtitles 95% of the time. And it is horrific. And it's a good 50-50% then with you, Jack. And then there's certain people like Luke who it gets perfectly word for word, including every little and that he makes right down to that.
It just likes brummies, apparently.
And it is really annoying.
Yeah, it must be better at detecting certain types of accents than others.
Which is why, again, we should probably say we are aware we've got to work out a solution at some point.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I think it's... I don't know. They just didn't like my voice.
I think... I know that for me at the end, because I was one of the ones that was going back with notes, and I don't know if you get it as well, John, when you go back for your notes. It gets to the point where where you're hearing your voice that much, you start to be like...
I do, yeah. It does get a bit grindy on me. It's like...
I was getting to that point where I was like, why do I say that word like that?
I get it all the time, so...
My thought when I hear myself is, why do I sound so nasally? That's awful.
What went through my head is, why do I sound like a 12-year-old child that is days away from going into puberty?
Yeah,
if you have any answers to what that might be, viewers, please put them in the comments. Sorry, Esme. Please go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I don't like listening to recordings from my own voice either, but hey, there's no pressure on me to watch the videos back myself. I live through them, but if I ever need to take notes or anything, I guess I could. But yeah, I was also going to say, for the type of DMs who are so, rigid and, inflexible, that they'd be better off playing a team building kind of game, those party building games where you have like Raid Shadow Legends or something, or not that, but other games like that where you have different characters and you add them to your team and then you role players controlling them, than playing with actual human beings. That's kind of what I was going to say a few minutes ago, but yeah.
If you play enough times as a DM, you soon learn it's like herding cats.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
It's just... With you guys, it's easier. I've had many groups that would just go off on tangent just to mess around, just to...
Just means we're not doing our job properly.
No, you're not doing your job properly. But I'm just saying that you lot are much easier than other campaigns I've done, everything. But I'm not going to get into it because there's a lot of not really bad memories, but not easy memories either. But we're just going to go for
it. Right past all of that.
Yes.
I think we're all in agreement that this campaign and the people in it, DM, players, everything, it's something that is rare, and honestly, I know that I personally feel honoured to be a part of whatever we're doing, and I'm not even caring about how successful we are on YouTube or anything. I'm just having the time of my life. It's been a long time since I've been excited to play D&D and not gone, I feel like I've got to complete this out of obligation, not because I want to anymore.
Agreed.
Well, I just want to bring us back to Caldra for a while, because one thing I am very aware of, just thinking about the different factions, now that we have one crystal shard, we're going to be so much more visible to the cult of Drakon.
You got more than one, by the way.
We've got 2.
You got 3.
Where are the other ones?
We'll find out.
Well, you've one of you read out one of the riddles to find the others, which was.
But we've only got 1 in our possession. Do I understand that right?
No, you got 3 in your possession.
Right. It's just because as people were leaving, they didn't make a point of saying, "Oh, and I hand this over."
I would imagine that they would have just done that, like voluntarily.
I mean, a lot of the time we haven't had people that have played their exit out of the campaign.
Which is unfortunate, but yeah, you got 3 shards because you picked up 2 from near Whitewater, which is the island, from Rasputin.
Right. Yeah, that old guy who was a hermit.
The old dwarf guy who got injured and died in this old mansion. So you picked up 2, and they told you where to find the others, or find one of them, and when you find that one, there's another riddle to go to find that shard, and then go further and further.
Yeah, that was the old man who Paul decided to impersonate somebody and lie to him.
Yes, you did.
Whilst he was on his deathbed. I really do feel bad about that.
Actually playing, morally ambiguous characters.
I don't know what you mean. Paul's not morally ambiguous. He's a decent guy. He just hides it all the time.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, what was the question about Caldra you wanted? Oh yeah, you said that. Well, yeah, I would imagine, you will be more of a sitting target now.
Which must be such a shock to them, because we've kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah, you have. I mean, you've met above table for the Dice Goblins. The Travellers have already met one of the 8 members of the Secret Council that follow the main leader of the Order of Drakon, which is I can't remember. Demona.
We met that lady's nephew as well.
No, the lady's husband, the Queen's husband. I don't know why you guys think he's a nephew.
Oh, no. Okay, right. So the guy who wanted the boats.
Yes.
I believe the last, but okay.
Seth Links. I think that was before Nancy and Rain and Esme came in.
Definitely before I joined.
Yeah, I joined in a sewer.
Yes, you did. But yeah, this is before. Yeah, so we need to catch up with them for that. But yeah, you have 3 other shards.
We should probably source out who's keeping hold of them.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be something we can do for prep for next session.
I think Vesta's. You are?
I think Loki should do it.
No. Just because you said that.
Yeah, just because you said that, we don't trust it. I think Vesta's actually got a bag of holding. Let me have a look.
Does she?
I think so. I think it was one of her items that I picked.
I'm once again remembering that Rue is currently dragging that bloody scythe behind her.
You are.
It might make sense, just because they were there at the time, that Paul has one and Shadowrim has one. Kind of,
Yes.
don't put all your eggs in the same basket, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, if we're happy with that.
I mean, there is no reason why Rue would have one right now.
Yeah, I did like that, Nancy. It's just like, we've dispelled the force field. Right, I'm having it.
Bye now. Yeah, I enjoyed that because all the looting that happened after it as well. I always like a good battle and then like a looting moment afterwards. We found a load of treasures in that fucking cave. It was brilliant.
You did, yeah.
I will.
Coming soon, the use of the Evening Star, which is a madly powerful weapon. And I don't know whether to trust it or not, but it's Paul, who has intelligence 10 and wisdom 11, so...
Well, if you're worried about it, I have Identify, so we can try and identify it and see if there's anything wrong with it.
Again, this is Paul.
Well, it's down to Paul.
There's the potential for a bonding moment there. As you've said,
Yeah.
Vesta is starting to look at him like, I had you wrong.
Yeah.
I am very curious to see a little bit more of Esme, your character. You've kind of been a bit quiet in the background. I'm really curious to sort of see what happens when we turn the attention a little bit more towards your character.
Kind of like what Nancy was saying, I tend to sort of figure my characters out like through playing them and through time, and like I build like the basis of the character and then sort of build on it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to figure out what sort of personality I want Drilla to have.
Do you think you'd probably get that through roleplay, or do you feel like you'd be more comfortable kind of being one of the people that's quieter in the backgrounds and maybe coming out a little bit later?
Yeah, I kind of like the balance, like roleplay and combat, and like it's good to have, you know, a mixture and so on. But yeah, it's gonna take me some time with like interacting with different characters to sort of work out exactly who Driller is and stuff.
That's fair enough.
It's a shame that we couldn't get Rye here for tonight, because I was also asked that question for Rye. I'm very curious to see how and also Flux as well, even though Flux is kind of returning. Just sort of see how their thoughts on their characters, if you know how they feel it's doing, and I'm also kind of curious as well. Sorry, Esme, I know I'm putting you a little bit on the spot here, on how personally if you've got any sort of theory on how your character may fit into the group, or if you're just completely up to just trying to figure it out along the way. If you've got anyone that you're sort of looking at going, I can see Jarella getting on really well with this character, not necessarily saying names, or if you just...
I'm kind of still figuring it out. Like, I've only been in 3 sessions so far, so still kind of early days. I feel like I'm still gradually learning about the other characters and the other players as well, and sort of seeing where I fit in. And also, like, it has been a while since I've played Dungeons and Dragons at all, so I do appreciate everyone being like patient with me, maybe not quite understanding all the rules, or like taking a while to remember things. Because before this I last played in like 2022-ish.
Okay, yeah.
So and I've also like I've not played. I mostly played from like level 1 to like level 6, level 7 in previous campaigns. So I've not played it. So it'll be interesting to like play it higher when we level up, to then sort of see what it's like to be high levels and stuff.
I've got a question after this, but yeah, I would love to hear more, know more about Anakitos. Because the character concept and the mystery about them, and this fabulous voice that Rye's doing.
Yeah,
just super curious. But anyway, my question. John, would it be too much to delve into what people are planning to do with their level 8, whether it's ASI or a feat?
Well, as you're not going to... It's still far away for you to level up that far, but yeah, sure.
That's a question.
Unless I'm the only one who's made that plan.
What have I even done with Rue so far is my question to myself right now. What have I done?
Well, I'm just hoping that you do one day choose the spell Call Lightning to prepare, because that is awesome.
Yeah, it may be on the list to do. It may not be on the list to do. You'll have to find out when Rue does it.
You can recycle your spells every day.
I know. I'm probably gonna increase Rue's wisdom up. She's doing an increase. I'm gonna be really boring on that one, I'm afraid. But
well, I might be the only person who's done this. Yeah, depending on what level we end up getting to, I've got a plan for all of Paul's development all the way up to level 18. After that, I don't know what to do.
That's planned out.
The next... Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, for a lot of my characters, I end up, depending on how my character is interacted with, depending on how the roleplay goes, how certain decisions come about, tends to depend on how I level them up, and if I'm multi-class, and if so, what I'm multi-class into. I don't know if anyone else does it that way. My character fate truly becomes in the hand of the campaign, and how people react to my character.
No, I'm too much of a control freak for that. So yeah, my plan, which I haven't told John yet, is to take on Weapon Master. Bump up the dex a little bit. It wouldn't be at max yet, but nearly. And take blowpipe, whip, longbow, and the fourth one I don't know, because there's not really anything else that useful for him.
I'm kind of almost concerned as to why he wants to know some of those.
Well, the only way that I can justify it story-wise is that he used to be a performer, so he would have used those ages ago, and it's kind of like riding a bike. He starts practicing with them again and remembers all the stuff he knew how to use them.
Sure, that's what it is, and not... Paul's got a lot of secret, dirty bedroom kinks.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
Excuse me, you met me in the sewers, what'd you expect?
There are circus performers who use whips, okay? It's just like...
That's what they all say.
I'm just gonna... A disclaimer to our listeners, Paul is not secretly into fetishes and BDSM, okay? It's just not happening.
Ooh, the denial.
There's temptation to say, if you say so right now, just to be contrary.
Right, fine. You know, if you guys want it so much, I'll put it in. Fine. Have it your way.
I'm just kidding.
But we are absolutely not role-playing it.
Absolutely not. No, even I agree on that one.
No! We're only messing with you. Christ.
I want
Dear God.
every detail. I want every detail with this.
Well, you know how he's got a set of manacles, right?
Oh no!
Here we go.
Wow! We're going there!
I am so grateful we don't record video, because I don't think anyone needs to see how red my face is right now.
And he's going to do that with the Tiefling woman?
Look, I mean, this is my headcanon, and it certainly was the case in my own homebrew world, if anybody was going to invent sadomasochism, it's gonna have to have been the tieflings.
Yeah, probably. I probably would say the orcs, like the half orcs.
Or maybe the drow.
Anyway, we're going on to lewd things. It's supposed to be a children's show.
It's definitely not a children's show.
It's a Christian children's show.
Oh dear, no, it's really not. But okay.
Praise Jeebus. Praise Jeebus.
The irony being, I don't know if anybody else is, but I am actually a Christian.
Yes,
and
you are. Yes,
most of the lewd stuff comes from me as a player. So.
Yeah, I did forget that you were a Christian, because that's what you said when we first talked about stuff.
I mean, my parents were Quaker when I was little. I think
they were what?
My dad still. Quaker is like
Quaker,
a
yeah.
I think to a degree at least, yeah, maybe they're still interested in it, but yeah, I'm not personally religious, but respect everyone's right to believe, and whatever.
The only reason why I know about Quakers and everything, because back in school we had to learn about the American Revolution, and most of the people who signed the Declaration of Independence were either Quakers or Puritans. So.
I think a lot of that is it's a big tangent, but the history of it is a lot of the colonials that were sent over were sent undesirables.
Because they were shunned in England, so a lot of them went overseas, and
I'd probably be shunned back in those sort of day and ages, as me personally. I don't know about anyone else.
You'd probably be executed as a witch.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
You probably would, because unfortunately, I have to say this, women weren't outspoken as they are today.
Yeah, that and the fact that, that and the fact that all of us here, all of the women or those that are seen as women, all can read.
Yes, that's true. That is very true.
I think they would have given me an lobotomy and stuck me in an asylum or something to that, along those lines, depending on what time in history we're talking about. But yeah.
Yeah, because I read somewhere about what illnesses or what conditions women had to be locked up in asylums, and there was like one where they were too horny, and there was one where they weren't horny enough to be locked up in the asylum. I was like, you can't fucking win there, can you?
I know.
There's a spectrum of horniness, and we need you to be within these brackets.
Yep.
Yeah. Moving back away from the lewdness that we were desperately trying to escape from.
We interrupt this episode of Sagas of Caldera to give you a rendition of horrible history.
I also know of one of where they were too happy.
Yes, they were. Yeah, if they were too happy, they'd be locked up in the asylum.
Yeah, because it was seen as like hysteria or something.
Yeah, hysteria.
If you know the etymology, it's a fantastic word. It's absolutely bonkers. It comes from the old Greek idea that the womb, the uterus, would just go wandering around the body, and that's what made them act weird.
I know of one back when I was doing the history of surgery and medicine for GCSE. Loved going into that at 8 a.m. in the morning on a Monday. Where some women would be like put into asylums for having periods.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might as well look up the majority of women everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the idea.
Yeah, that was kind of the idea.
As I was saying it, I realised the irony. Sorry.
Yeah, no. History's a very interesting thing. We learn a lot from it, and yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I'm losing where I'm going with this. My brain just decided that words don't exist anymore. That is a regular here with Rain. Words don't exist anymore.
Words don't exist. That's
So the thing about
Room
Caldra
Naruto
is...
version here.
Yes.
No, I was just like desperately trying to get us back on track.
Yeah, Caldra.
Yeah,
So,
Caldra. So yeah.
what's next? What are you planning? What are you prepared to divulge? And also, let's just also point out that you do have a trailer that some people here are still waiting to see.
They will see it
Yes.
at the end of this little segment, which we're going to wrap up in a minute. So, what's the question again?
What sort of things coming up?
The question. I've got a song in my head now. So it's not a lot I can divulge. Just going to say that it's going to be a lot more gruesome, a lot more dark. There'll be a lot of politics in it. And there'll be some surprises waiting around the corner for you.
Ooh. So how traumatized on a scale of 1 to 10 are our characters going to be by the end of this?
9.5.
Excellent.
So you still got that 0.5 sanity left.
Yay, pain! So, someone please put up that little a gif of Nifty doing that from Husband Hotel,
Yes.
for those that know of it.
Yay, pain.
Yay, pain!
I did have another question about the world, actually.
Yep.
Because you've mentioned that some of the more exotic races, you wouldn't want players to play. Are there ones in particular that you want us to avoid, and if so, why?
Well, the two I'm thinking of at the top of my head are fawns and minotaurs. Only because they were in this world before it was called Caldra, but they are now extinct.
Oh.
In the last campaign we did, there were bones found of minotaurs that came to life.
I love that creature.
But yeah, they're more extinct. Saying that, top of my head, there's so many races in D&D Beyond that I can't really keep up with all of them.
Yeah, there's some that I think are just so bizarre, like Loxodons,
Yep.
Leonins.
Mm-hmm.
If that was a thing, people would be turning their head all the time. It's like, wow, that's weird. I've never seen that before.
I mean, the alpha.
We're pretty weird with the bloody bunny.
Yeah, well, that was one exception I did for Flux and everything, because I didn't mention about I can't remember what the bloody race is called.
Herringham?
Harrigan, yeah.
Yeah, Harrigan. So they do exist, but only a small percentage of them, and he was okay with that. So, but there's other races that I won't have, only because it just feels like it's cluttered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I have a question.
So, just to finish up on this one, I imagine there was like a time, a little bit like the world of the Elder Scrolls, where before the good races had their civilizations set up, it was kind of more of a mythic B stage.
Yeah. And that's what the mythic era of Caldra was, where you had fawns, minotaurs, and other races within, but all of them just they got killed off and are extinct now. Apart from the Drachma. But we'll get into more of them in the next arc.
Mm.
What was the other question you wanted, Rain?
What is your issue about the two particular classes, Artificer and Bloodhunter?
Artificer, I would say it's not the right time. I would say in history to have it in this world. Maybe if we have like in the future, like 100 years in the future, then yes, I would allow it, but only for like a very rudimentary version of Artificer. For Bloodhunter, I did have one character to become a Bloodhunter in the last campaign. Now, I had to exclude it because it's I would say it's not OP, but only a few certain people can be Bloodhunter. And I don't want everyone to be a Bloodhunter because I feel like it's more of a like a Witcher thing. Like I didn't want everyone to be a Witcher or you know, like a monster hunter. Only certain people who it's a very rare class. And the fact is that the whole Bloodhunter society in this world is completely destroyed. And there's nothing left of it.
AKA, I absolutely hate these two classes, and the least I have to do with either of them, the better.
I mean, I'm not going to disrespect Matt Mercer for making Bloodhunter. He created Gunslinger in the first campaign of like Critical Role, and I think that's a really good subclass of fighter. But with Bloodhunter, I just feel it's a bit OP sometimes. And it doesn't really make much sense using up your health points to gain more damage to said NPC.
I mean, we all remember what happened to Molly.
Exactly. But it's just my opinion. So...
Well, I mean, the only way that I'd like stray into that territory was, and this is a character idea I've wanted to use for ages, probably wouldn't replace Paul with them. But maybe for one of the one-shots, a Hexblade where their gun is their Hexblade weapon, and it looks like a rifle, but it's like just got all these demonic scrawlings all over it. So it wouldn't actually be a gunner, it wouldn't work as a gun, it's just that's what he uses to do his Eldritch Blast.
Which is fair enough. And there is the awkward silence again.
Yay, awkward silence!
I think that's a good segue to show everyone, all of the Dice Goblins as well, the brand new second arc intro that we're going to be releasing with episode 2 of Sagas of Keldra. Let's have a look, shall we?
Awesome.
I love that.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I still think it's brilliant.
And we're back. So that is the preview for the intro for the new arc, which is called Frostfall. And on that note, we're going to say good night to everyone. I hope this has been a nice eye-opener to everyone who has been chatting. And we'll see you next week for episode 22 of the Sagas of Keldra, Frostfall. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye, Tinky Winky.
Bye.